Oh, oh, you just did the first film over again. Okay, okay, cool. Hey guys, welcome to our A Quiet Place 2 review, the sequel, again written by John Krasinski of Office fame, and quite a great military actor. He's in some military movies. I liked him in a lot. And Jack Ryan, but he's got multi-talents because he helped... Yeah, it does it all. And so we get a sequel. Now, this was planned to come out before the pandemic hit, COVID, and it got delayed and delayed. So, and I kind of bought in a little bit to the hype, There was a positive word of mouth going around that said that the film was good, and it was, this is how you execute a sequel. And I don't know, maybe that colored my expectations a little bit, though if I probably didn't hear that, I probably would be even more pissed right now. Really? I think I have a different opinion than everybody else, which is good, because I want to start pissing people off with my movie opinions, because we've been on the same track of mine, right?
Didn't like it.
I thought, I didn't hate it. I just think it's like, oh, well, I mean, you just did the first film over again.
That's why it's called the same thing. It's Quiet
Part
Place
2.
Yeah, it's the same movie, but the second time.
Continuation.
No, I see what you're doing. No, that would be A Quiet Place remake, not A Quiet Place Part 2. This is supposed to be a Part 2, and all you did was Part 1 with a boat and and a little bit of a prequel. So I will say that this film is a little bit of a prequel and a little bit of a sequel. And not much else. And the first film done over again. So if you're going to compartmentalize it and sectionalize it like that, it's like, oh, this is well executed. The prequel was well executed. The middle part, where it's the first film, well executed. And the little sequel where you get a little bit more lore, and then it ends basically how the first film ends.
Yeah, it's just like a splash of lore.
So it's well executed, the same thing over again, which for some people is fucking great, right? Because it's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But for me, because I enjoyed that first film, and I thought I had a few problems here and there, but it was generally, enjoyable. The second film disappointed me. I expected a little bit more from it. What I'll say this is, if you're a lore guy like me, you're going to be disappointed. It's more a character film. But even if you're a character guy, I still think you're going to be a little disappointed. Emily Blunt really gets not much to do. What it focuses on is a coming of age for the kids. The kids growing into their own and maybe becoming their parents kind of thing. With a little bit of a splash of a new character, our Scarecrow. I forget the guy's name.
Cillian Murphy.
Great actor.
Yeah,
I love him too. But he always got that. He's got the look of maybe a creepy guy. No, I think that's just a Scarecrow performance.
Pain. He had pain behind his
You ever watch
eyes.
Peaky Blinders? He's so good in
Oh
Peaky
yeah,
Blinders.
yeah.
No
I did,
fighting.
but I didn't finish.
No fighting.
I didn't finish.
28 days later, you're gonna see his wiener. Remember?
What?
That's
all right, Alex. I don't know about that. Anyway, appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So for those of you who want to see his wiener, what was I saying?
Cillian Murphy.
So a little bit of a new character there, and he does a good
Yeah.
performance. So what I'm saying is, it's well executed, well done, but a little disappointing for me. So what about y'all?
I actually did enjoy this film. It's not as good as the first one.
Yeah, so
right
let's
off the bat.
get that right off the bat. So
For me, it wasn't as good as the first one. I did like the mystery in the first one. It's like, the what happened, what's going on. This, we get a little bit of it.
And we'll talk about that in spoilers.
Yeah, this one we did get a little bit of it, but like it would just... The other one had more, for me, more suspense, more tension. This one did have some, but not as much as the first one. This one kind of like... I was nitpicking. I was like, oh, why are you doing some stupid things?
That's the first one.
But this one's like, oh, you did it again. I was like, you should know better. This is your
bitch.
life. This is your life. What are you doing?
Right.
You're doing stupid things. But
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Alex?
I also enjoyed it. This movie is smartly written, very smartly written at certain times, and I really appreciated that. There were times where they're setting time. They're walking into we see them lock themselves in certain places and they set timers. They do all sorts of things to show you how much they are trying to think about what
There's
the
more
world
talking in the film where
Yeah.
he referenced there's areas where they can now speak a little more than the first film.
Yeah, and so you do get more character dialogue, and so there are parts that I really liked about this film. I think that the intro of this movie was really well done. I think that
Yes.
the prequel parts of
We
this
saw
movie,
that pretty much completely in the trailer, though.
yeah, and so that part is really good. I think that some of the parts in the middle are pretty good too. There's a lot of tension. Now the problem that I have with this movie is I think that there's 30 minutes of footage that is gone somewhere, and it needed to be in the last part of this movie needed 30 more minutes of fleshing out.
It cuts off right there.
and
That's what I said
exploring.
earlier. I'm like, it's like Empire Strikes Back. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Are you sequel baiting? I mean, there has to be a third film now in order for part 2 to even be bothered to be made.
Yeah, even if they do want to cut it off, they can't cut it off where they did, but
No.
roughly around then, they need to develop more of what's happening right there.
I guess the pandemic hit right when they're no.
No, it didn't happen. But ultimately, I enjoyed it. I think that
Okay.
it's not a bad movie at all, and I think that if you want to see a tension-filled movie, then
Yes.
this it's pretty good.
Yes, it's from it's one tension sequence to the next. Tension,
Action.
tension.
Explosions.
No explosions. Tension. After a while, I kind of got bored. I've seen it. We did the first film. Tension here with the same setup. So for me, it started to lose me a little bit towards the end. I was like, okay, and then, and you just do it over again and do it over again and do it over again. Okay, fine. But I thought it did sag at times for me. It was a bit boring when you're doing the tension over and over and over again without adding anything particularly new to the formula.
Tension is so important, but you also have to have that reprieve from the tension. You have to have the ability for the audience to exhale and go, okay, we made it
And
through
there's
that
none of
tension
that.
point, and then we get into
there's
the new one.
there's no point in the film that does that. And purposefully so, because they split the family up. Okay,
The first one they did better.
you have bunch of you have two separate stories going along here. One that kind of advances the world and lore and plot, and another one that is discussing how do you deal with a baby and in this world. Because we thought that was stupid from the thing. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you getting pregnant and a baby screaming and yelling in a world where there's monsters every time there's a noise? It's stupid, right? But they execute it well here, and it makes sense. I can't wait to talk about spoilers, though, for the lore of the film. And what they do reveal where the creatures come from, because in the first film it's ambiguous. You have no idea. I think here it finally gets answered, and you get a tiny bit of what is going on what may be going on in the rest of the world. Whereas the first film, it's very tight. It's very closed off. Here, you start to see other things, but the things that you say, you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Are you telling me this is the first time ever that you guys thought of this? Okay, but whatever. When it's written well and when it's acted well and when it's executed well, you're along for the ride. It's like Cruella in that way, right? Because we begrudgingly liked Cruella, and here I thought it was well executed. But I expect more in my sequels. I don't want the same thing over again, and then cutting it off in the middle. So let's go to final verdicts.
Final verdicts for me, as we're talking about sequels, this
Yes, sir.
one didn't really improve on anything. It was still a fun watch for me.
Yeah. Not a bad film. Fun watch.
No. So I'm probably going to go with a 7. I did enjoy it.
For those of you wondering, he gave it the first one an 8.
An 8. Yeah. So this was a little bit below because it's kind of the repetitive, same thing. The other one did the suspension and tension better. It was like, all right, like what's going to happen next? And this one's like, all right, you know what's going to happen. But it just keeps building. And like you were saying, it's like, all right, this is getting boring. Like, stop with the tension. Give us some time to breathe.
Yeah.
Let us simmer on this scene or something. But
Okay, Alex?
7.
I think I like this one just about as much as I like the first one. I think they both had failings and successes in different places.
Okay.
There are definitely some times where I can't wait to talk about it in spoilers.
Yes.
Where
I was like,
Oh, we're
I
gonna rip
can't
it
say
apart
that.
because that's what
I
we do.
can't
We
say
love to
that.
nitpick.
Yeah, there are times where they are so clever and they're so thoughtful when
Yes.
they were writing this world and they're building the lore and they're talking about things that they're doing. And then there are parts that are so goddamn stupid that don't make any sense within the world that they've established. And you've already showed me.
I can't wait to hear. Sorry, I want to get to it.
But you've
What
already
is he
showed
talking
me
about?
that you know how to build a world,
yeah.
and then you do something that's like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. What are you doing here? And then normally when we talk about a movie being too tense, I don't think this movie is too tense. I just don't think this movie was successful in managing tension when in a way a thriller should. In my opinion, the way that tension should work is you have a really, really tense scene, and then you overcome that scene, and you relax a little bit. And then they have you on the edge of your seats again, and then you relax a little bit. And they're constantly playing with you, constantly leaving you tense the whole time, eventually leaves you kind of bored, kind of numb to the tension
what happened to
that they
me.
purposely have built up.
And you add in the fact that they did this already in the first film
Yeah.
with these characters, and I went through that exact situation with these characters.
Yeah, and it would have been so easy for little scenes to show that there's some relief here, there's some relief here, and then we build back up into that tension, and I think it would have been more successful. Ultimately, I think I'm going to give it the same score as I did the last one. I think this one is an above-average movie. If you're looking for a thriller, this is a pretty good watch. I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay. I am going with a 6 out of 10. I think maybe a little less than y'all because I expect more from my sequels. If you do the same thing over again, if you and you execute it well, fine, it could receive the same score. But because of an unsatisfactory ending in which you pull little hook, she uses her hook again, and then it ends. But we've used the hook a bunch of times already. You go nowhere. You advance none of the plot. You advanced the characters I cared least about, the children. And Emily Blunt really gets nothing to do in the film.
They advanced locations.
She basically, they advanced
moved.
one location for each character.
But they're really far.
Yeah, and so it's like you were moving at a snail's pace, and we did the first film over again. You add in a boat and a new character, and you're done. That's it. Oh, and a little bit of the sequel. That's what I'm saying. The prequel. The prequel was done excellently. I love that baseball game. I love the reveal kind of thing, and then the chaos. It reminds me of Zack Snyder's smash debut with his zombie film, and where just shit is going fucking crazy. Yeah, when she's like comes outside of her house after fighting, her family, and the whole fucking world is red. Like that shit, I love. Because I used to think of that stuff all the time when I was in my backpack walking home from school. I used to think, I used to I'd come up with scenarios, either aliens or war or whatever, So, and it's perfectly executed in that way. And I can tell John, I like his style, I like his ideas, but here it just wasn't enough. Okay, so let's go into 6 out of 10 for me. A lot of people were, this movie is definitely worth going to the theaters for. I don't think so. I think you can wait until this thing goes on VOD or something like that.
It's better than the other movie you watched.
Yeah, if you like The Quiet Place a lot the first time around, and you're okay with them doing it all over again, and maybe and then having the story kind of cut short and kind of baiting for a third, then go see the film. Otherwise, wait.
Also, there will be chatty morons in your movie theater because the people that were just over there just would not shut the fuck up.
So it kind of reminded us. I was like, when John introduced the film, he's like, "Welcome back to the theater. Thank you so much for watching my movie." I was like, "This is a genuine motherfucker." And I'm like, I do like being back at the theater. And you're like, you sons of bitches.
Cell phone's going off. I'm like,
Shut the fuck up.
No, I don't miss
People
this.
forgot how to act at a movie theater, apparently. All right, that's it. See you guys. Oh, wait for the spoiler section next. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys. Hey, welcome to the spoiler section. So I'm going to go right away and say that in this film, it could have combined these two films into one film. If John died in this film and the girl finds out her ear special hook where it hurts the monsters, the first film is irrelevant. So if John dies in this one and then she figures out the hook, then the same things can happen and nothing has changed. It's the same thing.
But now we found out more information.
Right. So they basically, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't advance the plot in a satisfying way. It focuses on the characters, but the characters, you know, I mean, in the same tension sequences that I've seen 6-7 times in the original film, it's 6-7 times again here. So, you know, from Emily Blunt's perspective, she ran to a factory, and she got some supplies, and that's it. She did the first film over again with in between, and that's it. And then the film ends.
That was her scene. Yes.
Okay, so at the very end, what happens here? Well, obviously their farmhouse is, you know, on fire, destroyed. It's time to move on. They see a fire in the distance finally because they were doing kind of that kind of stuff in the first film. They go over there. Turns out to be one of his friends. And that's kind of another reason why they do the prequel, because they set up that, hey, they're watching a ball game together. Hey, you know, what's the score on that ball game? And it's a small town. Everybody seems to be friends. So this guy later plays a factor because he's friends with the family. So they go. And it turns out he is at this factory, and his wife has died, his son has died, and he's the only one there. Doesn't really want to help him, but he notices that they have a way to combat the aliens, which I guess I'll spoil that. So it's revealed where they come from. They're not from underground. They're not in evolution.
I thought they were going to do like the thing or something like that. It was like, oh, the military.
Thing. Yeah, but no, it's comets or whatever, you know, coming from the sky, and then they literally fucking drop down. And like, so wherever this asteroid flew over is where the things are going to be. So
we
anyway,
know it's worldwide too. So it's not just
it's worldwide. It's not why?
Because they were watching the TV. We know it's Shanghai.
Yeah,
there was another.
That's right.
Like, oh,
so
it's
it's not just in this little area.
And the fact that there's no fucking, you know, news stations going anywhere except for one, which is transmitting this signal. And so that gives them the plot point to move from this little factory. The factory's clever because they go underground and they can talk a little bit. And in fact, they can go even one more step inside this little chamber. And they do, you know, a smart little thing. They only have like 15 minutes of air, and they can talk and come back out. The kid's screaming his fucking head off because he, you know, he gets his foot stuck in a bear trap. So he has to constantly be in the little fucking chamber. And they got to figure out what to do. So they hear the song. She realizes it's not a song, it's a signal. They say, come over here, and she circles an island. I'm like, how does she know it's on an island? Well, the song lyrics or whatever. So she go over there. And it's a fucking obvious idea. Like, why didn't nobody think, let's go to an island? I mean, that's what I think in a zombie apocalypse. Can they swim? Can these things swim? Turns out, in the lore, they cannot swim. The military has figured it out.
The military knew, a bunch of people knew, and that information went nowhere. They're not broadcast. They're broadcasting a song. They're not broadcasting, hey, these motherfuckers can't swim.
Which makes no sense, because you would think that there's some islands with some military, because some boats make it past. But apparently not. What about Hawaii? Hawaii is fine. Is Australia fine? Hey, anybody in Australia, can we come stay with you? Is Australia fine? Unless the asteroid went over Australia too, then you're fucked.
Too big of a place.
Right. So you need small places. Like Hawaii is probably where you want to go, and some of these other places. Okay. Anyway, so that's the story there. So they go, they try, you know, the daughter character's like, we need to do this. Everybody else is like, nah, you don't need to do this. And she ultimately does it. And her mother's like, oh, she left. Can you go get her? So she does her best to convince this dad friend to go after her. She manages to convince him using his, well, I don't know, just using his friendship with the family.
They're clearly, they used to be an item or something, because there's like this weird like relationship with him and Lee John. Like he's like, why did you never answer our signals? It's like, because you knew he was there. You knew that my husband was alive and around for all this time. So I think they're trying to set up this whole uneasy relationship.
I didn't pick up on that, but maybe, yeah, because he never really, you know, answered, like, hang out. But it's like, fuck them, man. I'm doing my own thing, right? It's my family. I don't give a fuck about your family. Yeah. You're gonna make noise. Shut the fuck up. That's what I thought that was all about. But anyway, so then, you know, they go over there and they figure out. They see a bunch of boats, and they're like, oh, I found a boat. But then they get attacked by evil people,
cannibals.
Cannibals, I guess.
It looked like cricket. Was it actually?
How do you know
cricket?
they're cannibals?
Rickety cricket.
What? Okay, fine. There's a little girl there. She runs across the screen. You're like, what the fuck is that? You got zombies? What is this? And as a little girl, she won't look up. And when she looks up, her face is all scarred. She looks nasty. And she's like fucking stabs a dude in his neck or something.
She puts a noose on the neck, and the noose is
and he
attached to a
can't
thing
move.
with
that's right.
bells
She
and
puts a noose
cans
on
and
the neck.
glass. And so if he moves, he dies.
Puts a noose on the neck. And all these hillbillies and mean-looking guys and dirty guys show up. And they, like, stare at the daughter.
New
and
civilization.
And we're just trying to figure out. And he had mentioned before that people out there aren't worth saving anymore. And I guess these are the people he's referring to. I don't know what they do, but they're
Cannibals.
not good. Yeah, I
They
don't
all
know.
have weird eyes, and
Yeah,
you're not supposed
red.
to eat people.
You're
And I'm
evil.
like, this is the worst world to either attempt to rape somebody, attempt to kill somebody, attempt to force them to do something they don't want to do. This is the worst world for that. Because the second you fucking pull out a knife, or the second the motherfucker pulls out his dick or whatever to fucking cook me or fuck me, I don't know, I'm going to scream my ass off and you're going to die and I'm going to die.
No.
It's the worst world, right? And that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
He basically, it's a callback. It's clever writing. It's a callback to the prequel where the one sign language he learned was dive. Because he was watching a baseball game. How do you say dive? And so he's like, dive, and she knows exactly what to do. She dives. A big fight happens. All the things can kill him.
He starts making noise.
Yeah. Or stabs the guy, so the guy makes noise, and then he jumps in the water, and he's like got the noose around his neck. So you know what?
That part's
God
good.
damn it!
I like
There's
that
some
part.
good parts in the fucking film, right? So no wonder it's getting praise. No wonder it's getting. It's just for me. I wanted the story to go more places. Maybe it is a 7 or an 8. I'm gonna stick to my 6.
So
yeah, go ahead.
We passed some things that I have huge issues with,
yeah, I
right?
was
so
wondering what
you
you were-
mentioned that their farm was burning down. It wasn't. They had a single.
The barn
They
was.
had a barn that was burning down.
Yes.
Their house was not destroyed. There
Yeah,
was.
but how do you put out the fire without making
It was
noise?
in the barn. The barn is not the house. They don't
Oh.
live in the barn.
Then
they
I
live in
saw
the
all
house.
that food she had.
They have all the food, all of their supplies. They've lived there for over a year.
Shit, I thought everything was on fire.
There was no reason to
What's-
leave the
why-
house
why did
whatsoever.
they leave then?
There was no reason to leave whatsoever. And so if we're nitpicking.
No, the reason I guess they saw
map.
the fire.
It was the map. Yeah.
The map and the fire.
it was
They'd
the
already
map.
made the decision to leave when she's grabbing the map and shit. Like packing
yeah.
up the baby and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, we get all through that point. At one point, the kid gets bear trapped, and he's screaming, and then so the mom has to go get drugs from the drugstore, and it is a fully stocked drugstore that they've been multiple times, and there's still hydrogen peroxide, rubbing alcohol, gauze, prescriptions everywhere, painkillers. That is the first.
Yeah, the first place you'd go.
You
yeah,
get raided.
It's fully stocked.
And they've been there multiple times, and they don't know anyone else is live because they've
And
been
they
doing signal
they
fires
keep that
constantly.
stuff there, yeah.
And they just they're like, no, I know that we need this for the baby to live,
But I'm
going to
leave
leave
that
all the
here
extra supplies here.
for no reason, so that
Those
other
pills
assholes can get
make
it.
Yeah.
noise, Alex.
Yeah, so there's
You're
a lot.
shaking those pills.
Yeah,
Anyways,
Makes noise.
that happens.
and then they move on, and then this movie was doing a pretty good job. One peeve
The
that I have
kid.
with a lot of movies is
kid.
they make kids purposefully stupid to drive plot. And they were doing a good job not having that until the point where they did. And the kid he's alone, he's a kid, he's a broken leg, bear trapped. He has a baby. He's completely by himself. His mom has left to go get him antibiotics or he's dead.
he knows the rules of the world.
Yeah.
He
Yes,
knows the rules of the world. He's
that's one
existed
of the
in it a
things I
long
was talking
time.
about.
And he leaves the bulletproof, soundproof chamber for
And
what?
the baby.
And a baby. He leaves a baby by himself in this little airproof thing
no reason.
running on it. And he just starts walking around this fucking factory.
Finds.
Because we need to get more tension. We need to get
We
a monster
need
on
it.
him so that there's a monster outside, and is Emily going to show up and save her
A
son?
baby crying can do that too,
Yes,
though. And then
he's
it's
like,
not.
Shh, shh. You hear it?
And then he gets
It
in
could've been
there,
done.
and there's a lot of ways that you can do it, and you didn't have to make this kid leaving the safety bunker an idiot. He also revealed that like Cillian Murphy's wife is just in there for no reason. He left her up there.
Well, she started I think he was saying
She left. She started wailing or something.
Yeah.
The pain was so high, so she died up there. So you get to see her corpse and stuff. But it's like there was no reason for that kid to leave the bunker, and they were doing a good job up until that point where you start to. the threads start to pull on the threads of the story, and you're like, wow, this isn't written as strongly as it could have been.
So after all the people, the crazy people, cannibals grab them, and then they die. As they're dying, ships are getting ripped apart because the monsters are jumping on the ships. It's shown one monster jumps on this sort of police ship or whatever, and it kind of like floats off in one direction. And then they survive ultimately, and they take a boat to the island.
The island.
I don't know. I guess they paddled their way there. They didn't use any engines, or even if they did,
use
I
engines,
guess
it doesn't matter.
They can't
swim.
swim. So they use an engine, and they get to the island, and right away they kind of discover. I'm like, are they going to be quiet on the island? Yes, they are quiet on the island until they realize.
There's a
fucking barbecue
There's
going
a clam
on.
bake going on.
They got fucking power. They got fucking barbecue. They got having a fucking party.
Huge bonfire. They're making coffee. Everyone's having a
on
party.
the mainland, you'd be able to hear that goddamn party. I was like, what the fuck is this? All right, fine. And these people are so unconcerned about security. They have no fucking lookouts looking at, for any incoming boats or anything like that.
Cannibals. They're cannibals on the other dock.
I know,
It's like
right?
the cannibals
Guns.
ever. Yeah.
And
How do
you
you
telling
not
me the
have guns?
cannibals never fucking heard any of these people over there to go eat them or whatever, or go fuck them or eat them? I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they were. They were just so quiet. They pulled off her clothes, or some of her clothes.
They were stealing her supplies.
Supplies, yeah. But just staring at her while I was doing it is just weird. I guess because everybody's quiet, so they're like gonna talk shit with their eyes or something. I don't know. Anyways, but they never fucking heard the party, and they never had the bright idea of getting a fucking boat and going to a small fucking island surrounded by water that maybe none of these fucking monsters would go to. Nobody thinks of that. So eventually, apparently, tides and floating doesn't work anymore
Only
in this
the
world.
island and the government knew. That's it.
Well, the police boat, I guess, floated all the way across. Either that or a fucking monster on the boat decided to man the boat, turn it on, and go over to the fucking
He
island.
held on to the back and then he kicked real hard and it pushed him because they're very strong and very fast.
Okay, well, at one point, our new character, Scarecrow, hears some bullshit going on, looks around the corner, and there's some rummaging going on in the boat. Apparently, one of the aliens has been in this boat this whole time.
It's like he should have drifted off into the ocean.
Well, yeah, that's not how this shit works. But okay, fine. It drifted
so
over
sure,
here.
okay,
And by the
why
way, it
not?
drifted so fucking fast because it's not that much time passed it. But
Nope.
okay. So then the alien bursts out, and then all these wonderful people who, accepted everybody.
I would have been like, "What did you bring?"
Yeah, you
This is on you,
everybody
motherfucker.
starts fucking dying, and again, the main guy who seems to be in charge of the island, or at least helpful the most. And
I thought he was gonna play a bigger role in this.
yeah, me too.
His name is Man on Island.
Yeah, that's what they have him
Man
as.
on
Man
Island.
on Island.
Yeah.
He's like, Man on Island says, you can stay at my island. And then everybody gets murdered. He puts his boy, he's like, come. And he puts his boy in there, and then another kid into the closet, and they make a real big deal to be like, and
That
like,
was for the
real
trailer.
focus on the boy. So I'm like, is this a trailer shot? Or
It
is
That
was
was
a
the
trailer
trailer
shot.
Okay, I thought so, 'cause I was
It's
like, what is
oh,
this?
He's gonna
Why
be
is
the
he
movie
looking at-
great. No.
Yeah. Or maybe they're setting up Quiet Place 3, and then these two boys will walk out of the closet, and they'll fight the
The
monsters.
new
and-
kids.
The-
dude.
The new kids on the block. Anyways, so then they get in a car to lead the fucking monsters away from this town, honking the horn. Monster follows them, but for some reason doesn't bother to kill the person. Whereas in A Quiet Place, if it gets on a car, the original car, you remember John, and
He was going too fast.
he's gonna
That's
die.
Why.
Okay, he's going too fast. The monster can barely hold on, but he
Oh, okay,
does
I
hold
got
on.
it. was convertible. The other ones were a hard top, so
he-
the grip.
He
See,
wasn't
there you go.
sure. Okay,
there you
gotcha.
go.
Nice. I like it. They go to the radio station that they have been broadcasting that has power. This whole island has power. I'm not sure how, but okay.
He starts panicking. He's like, "Oh,
I gotta
we
go back
lost
to
him.
my
We
family."
lost him." And the whole time you see the garage is like,
We went too
no,
fast. They went back.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
What are
and
you
he gets
doing?
pulled under.
Man on Island.
The mist style. You remember
Man
the
on
mist
Island,
tentacles
no.
coming out and
Yes.
grabbing him under there?
I
It's-
liked Man on Island.
Me too.
Yeah, I like Man on Island too, but he's dead, and
And then the movie ends.
maybe the people on the island are dead too because the monster brought. No. Here's what happens. The monster comes in. They are the daughter character manages to use the record. Instead of playing the record, she holds up her ear, her hearing aid, and blasts the sound just before the monster can kill. What's the guy's name?
Cillian Murphy.
Emmett.
And the mother, because
the
it's
mother, too.
two monsters are attacking at different locations.
They like to do the simultaneous thing.
Yes.
And
Build tension.
everything's very convenient.
They
So
come
they're
at the same
doing two
time.
stories at the same time that this monster is in the radio station. The son and Emily Blunt's character, the mother, are fighting a monster themselves because the son is an idiot and attracted monsters there. But thankfully, he is just wearing the headphones the whole time because he wants to listen to music as he's brutally murdered.
He said, "Keep listening." That's why.
The note said, "Keep listening."
Listening.
Yeah, to the same song over and over. Like he would gouge his own eyes out.
Fucking shit off.
Start sticking his thumb in his bear trap hole and just like, fuck this.
But he kept listening, and so he was like, "Oh, gets the bright idea. Let me put it on." And
It's a good thing those batteries last forever. I don't know if you've ever had a radio that ran on batteries. Like the batteries died like immediately.
Fast.
Yeah.
Fast.
Where are you gonna get deep batteries in the apocalypse, huh?
And a
You
lot
deep
of
batteries you need?
Pharmacy.
Pharmacies. I'm
there's
sorry,
stock.
you're completely right. They just run to the pharmacy
Aisles
every
and
week.
aisles
Yeah,
of-
deep batteries.
of deep batteries.
Man, I'm sorry.
So anyway, that's basically the film. So simultaneously, they save themselves on the island, and they save themselves in the factory. They don't meet back up. They're
No.
two separate places.
Oh, she dead.
Smashed to black, and that's it.
Yeah, Emily Blunt definitely gonna die.
No.
She got slashed in the thigh. That's where your femoral
No.
artery is. You dead.
No.
She dead.
No.
Quick
So-
little funny nitpick.
Oh, well, in
though.
that case, then Scarecrow's dead, too.
No, he got him in the ankle.
No.
You can live
no,
through the ankle.
No.
Quick little funny thing. When the kid gets hit by the bear trap, she's like, "Oh, don't scream, don't scream." And she gets hit in the leg. She's like screaming.
She's screaming.
Face.
He's like,
"Ah!"
I learned by watching
I don't know
you.
if you saw that. I was like, "What? You're telling me not to scream?"
Yeah.
You're fucking screaming in my face.
Come on, you fucking...
In her defense,
That's
the monster
nice.
was already there.
You could have been like, "Shh, quiet, maybe he'll leave us alone." But no, she's like yelling at his face. She turns. She's like, "Ah!"
On purpose?
She could have turned to the left, but she went to the right.
All right, I missed that. Anyways, guys, so that's the film, and that's why I guess I was a little disappointed. Yeah, they're in a new location, but they're mostly doing the same thing, and the plot doesn't advance very much. But you know, when you hear all that
there's
on paper,
no
I guess it does somewhat
happily
advance,
ever after.
but just not in the way I thought, and then it cuts off at the end. Most of the theater was like, "Oh, okay, it's over. Okay, all right," and everybody gets up and leaves. It just kind of cuts off. So, Quiet Place 3 coming soon to a theater near you.
Yeah, probably being written or filmed right now.
Yeah, I read an interview where she says Emily Blunt, because she's his wife in real life. She's like, yeah, he's got some ideas for it, but we're gonna see how this film does first before he really
Yeah, it's gonna be rough for them. I mean, even if it was, exactly what you wanted in a movie, it's a really.
I'm already kind of bored of the tension. Monsters being right next to you. You're not making sound. We've done that already twice
get a
now.
moat
We're gonna do
around
it
your
a
house.
third fucking time.
What if they've evolved?
Now, if you want,
No.
here's what I want.
brain bugs.
Now, I'm an idiot, so I want fucking sonic weapons. I want to see the military. I want to see taking back the goddamn areas.
Did you not see who produced this movie? You didn't see his name all over the movie? Michael Bay.
That's what there's explosion.
That's why there's explosions. So if in
Good.
part
I
3,
want
Michael Bay takes over, and it's just like
and
a
it's
giant
fucking sonic
idiot
weapons.
bombs and then stupid napalm everywhere, and it's just like nothing
Yeah.
makes any sense. I'm in.
Nobody thinks to use any sonic weapons,
No.
but then finally she gets the word out over the radio because she's the only one that has a radio on the entire earth, and she starts broadcasting, hey, use these feedback signals, and now we use sonic weapons to get rid of these fucking aliens, man.
Can we use silencers on rocket launchers?
No, you don't want. You want loudners.
No.
You want loudners on all these weapons.
You kill more of them, just like
No,
dangle
Joe.
some noises.
No,
bring
Alex
'em
is
all, like-
saying instead of using silencers, you put some fucking speakers on that goddamn rocket
What is
as
that
the
fucking-
rocket's coming in.
those
What's that
whistlers.
YouTube whistle tips? You
Whistle
put whistle
tips.
tips on the bombs, and as they're dropping,
Fucking
they're
Nerf.
Nerf footballs
Nerf,
with grenades
bro.
on them and shit. You start throwing
Kids
those.
can kill these aliens.
Now we're getting sidetracked.
Look, Michael Bay, I'm saying that if you're looking for 3 dudes with terrible ideas, you
Man,
like
do
dumb
it.
shit, we can come
We
up
got
with some
plenty
dumb
of
Quiet
shit.
Place 3, like fucking war to retake Earth. Do it. Earth. All right, guys, that's it for us.
What's the
Thank y'all
tagline?
very much.
We need a good tagline.
It's for nothing.
Yeah!
Because we have
Perfect. The Nerf.
Yeah, the footballs.
Those are hand grenades,
Yeah.
Joe. And then the Nerf hits him right in the face. Fall down. All right. Bye, guys.